Hello, hello, friends. If you have ever said, oh, I'm such a hot mess, listen up because I am here to tell you that you're not. And the way that you talk to yourself, it matters more than you think. Let's break this cycle right now. Welcome to the Pilates for the People podcast. I am Lindsay, your host, movement nerd, and unofficial hype person here to help you break free from the stress cycle and feel really good in your body. This show is all about using Pilates and yoga and mindful movement to move better, live better, and maybe, just maybe, stop wearing tension like it's an accessory. Expect real talk, expert insights, and a community that actually cares because the way that you move matters. And no, you do not need to be good already at Pilates or yoga to get started. Let's do this. Take a deep breath, roll your shoulders back, and hit play because you are in the right place. So, my friends, if you have ever identified as a hot mess, I want you to know that you are not alone. I want you to know that you don't have to stay a stressed out, overworked, exhausted ball of nerves. Whatever it is being a hot mess express means to you, I want you to know that you don't have to stay stuck that way. You don't always have to be late. You don't always have to be rushing out the door in the morning. You don't have to be screaming at your kids to get in the car to make it to school on time. You don't have to always be running at the very, very last minute to hit a deadline. You don't have to wait until those reviews are due to turn them in. You can get out of the cycle. I promise you can get out of the cycle. And it takes some intentionality, it takes some awareness, some mindfulness, and it's possible. And I'm going to break it down in this episode because it's more simple than you think. Most mindfulness, most behavior change is simple. It's just a matter of getting consistent and doing it and taking the time to really dive into it. And I believe in you. You absolutely can. And I know that because I used to be like the president of the Hot Mess Express, maybe the driver of the Hot Mess Express. We were always late. We were always like swerving around corners. We were normally trying to check our text while we were driving, our email while we were driving because we were running late and we needed to look at the thing. So we didn't even know the name of the person that we were going to the meeting to meet. I was, yeah, the captain, the driver, the whatever, the person who was in charge of Hot Mess Express. And so before you think this is a personal attack, I just want you to know that I've been there and this is an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process of getting off the Hot Mess Express. I at least don't feel like I'm driving it anymore. So if that gives you any hope, I hope it gives you a little bit of hope. And this is how Hot Mess Express, like how committed I was to being on the Hot Mess Express. My nickname growing up was Lou. I'm Lindsay, so Lindsay Lou. And when Hot Mess or Hot Mess Express kind of became this thing that was just part of the vernacular, like if anyone else is a millennial or had millennials in their lives around like 2008, you probably know what I mean. My nickname became Lou Mess. So, you're such a Lou Mess. It kind of became a thing in my family, and people just expected me to be a little bit messy, to be running a little bit late, to have procrastinated on the thing, to not be able to get out of bed in the morning because I stayed up too late, doom scrolling or whatever hot mess activity I was participating in that day. So you don't have to stay a hot mess. And if you have this belief or you have this thought pattern, like I am a hot mess, and maybe you think about it differently, maybe you don't think hot mess, maybe you think, maybe it's I'm so busy or I'm so overwhelmed or I'm so overworked or I just can't get ahead or these things keep happening to me that mean I just can't get it together. Maybe it's like I can't get it together or I'm not organized or I'm always late. Those are thoughts that are similar to being a hot mess. And so you don't have to identify as a hot mess to use this thought mapping technique to get out of cycles of stress or overwhelm. So I want you to know that kind of upfront. You don't have to. This is useful for all thought patterns. So we're going to use a thought mapping technique. I think that it has a name, but I don't know what it is. I call it CTFAR, which is an acronym. I learned it from my advertising coach, Ashley Brock, who learned it from her coaches, who learned it from the amazing life coach, Brooke Castillo. So if you're looking for where to find it or you want some more information on this, this is kind of what it looks like. And the reason that I like this technique is because it helps you see exactly where you can upgrade your thoughts to change your feelings, which changes your results. And you want that. right? Like you're still listening because you want something to change. And so this is how you get that change. Once you have used mindfulness to create the tools to build awareness of, ooh, this doesn't feel good, or ooh, I'm back in my hot mess, like thought pattern, thought cycle, this is where your power comes in, right? So it's really common to say, you've heard before, right? That your power is in the space between stimulus and response, right? It's between like the thing happens that throws you off your game and choosing, right? And what happens in that space is that's what you think. Those are your thoughts. That's where you get to change your experience in the world. You don't have to change anything, like nothing in your life, nothing in your circumstances has to change in order for you to experience your life differently. And this is why, and this is how. So I'm going to get a marker and I'm going to take a drink. I'm also going to upload this to YouTube. And so if you want to see, I'm going to draw everything out. You'll be able to hear it totally fine on the audio if you're just doing audio. But if you want to look on YouTube, you could also look on YouTube. So here we go. So maybe, let me make sure you can see my screen. Okay, cool. So we've got our skeleton in the back. Like, tell me you're a Pilates teacher trainer without telling me you're, or a yoga teacher trainer without telling me you've got a skeleton in your office with clay muscles built onto it, right? Okay, so here we are. We're gonna map out the CTFAR with kind of the thought of I'm a hot mess or whatever belief you have that's similar, like whatever that is that's in your head. So we've got, first things first is we've got our circumstances. So that's what the C stands for. So I'm just going to write up the CTFAR. So that's what we've got here. C is your circumstances. These are things that just happen to be true. So, we have 24 hours in a day, or the meeting is at 5 o'clock, or the Pilates class is at 5:15. They're things you can't argue with. They just happen to be true. So, they don't have any meaning until we put a story on them. So we'll kind of decide the circumstance that we're going to work with today is that things don't always go as planned, which I think is just something that is true. So I'm going to write that up here. And things not going as planned doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? Rocket ships get to the moon by failing their way there. So it's like 97% of the time that a rocket ship is on its way to the moon, it's off course, and the algorithm, whatever, I don't understand, whatever rocket thing gets whatever the navigation system is, it just fails its way there. So it's like, oop, we're off a little bit, we readjust. Oop, we're off a little bit, we readjust. And that's what gets you on course. So the fact that things in your life are not going as planned doesn't mean that we have to panic. It's actually an opportunity to get to where we're supposed to be going, right? If a rocket ship's going off course, it's like, great, now I can course correct. So that's the attitude that we want to start cultivating. So we've got our circumstances that things don't always go as planned. And let's say the thing that we were planning was to make it to your Pilates class. So the thing that we were planning is making it to a 5:30 p.m. Pilates class. So you think to yourself, so something doesn't go as planned. Maybe it's that you've got a sick kid. Maybe it's that you get an email from your boss that's like, hey, can you look at this thing for a client real quick? Maybe like while you're on the way out the door to get there, maybe you forgot your socks. It could be any number of things that didn't go as planned that day, right? So the thing didn't go as planned. You had your whole day mapped out. What you thought was going to happen didn't happen. So if you think to yourself, the thought that you have next is, I am such a hot mess. I should have been able to predict this. I never get to do what I want to do. So if you have this, I am such a hot mess, we're going to add that to our thought. I am such a hot mess is the thought that we have. Then what you feel as a result of that thought is probably something like embarrassment or frustration. So like you're embarrassed that you didn't predict the thing that was going to come up. You're embarrassed because, right, this thought that I am such a hot mess, it has this like root of shame of like, I'm not enough, like I'm a hot mess. Or maybe you're frustrated. Maybe it's that like, it's actually that your spouse who is supposed to pick up the kids got called into something and so they can't. So you're frustrated at them, or you're frustrated that your boss messaged you because this happens all the time. Or maybe you're frustrated that your kid got sick because you had something you wanted to do instead, right? And so you're embarrassed or you're frustrated. So the action that you take if you're embarrassed or you're frustrated is that you skip your class. You do the thing that like popped up, like turn away from that and address that. So you skip your Pilates class and then you don't book again because you have this belief that you're a hot mess. Things never go as planned. And so now that you've had like, you're a hot mess, things don't go as planned, that like you had this belief that you should have been able to predict lifing. And so now you don't have to worry about that maybe shame that you might feel about not being able to make it to class because you just never book again. Like you just stop going. So that's the action that you take. So you don't go and then you don't rebook. And I forgot to write the feeling up on the board, but the feeling is like frustration or embarrassed. And then the result of that is that you didn't make it to class and you don't get to take care of yourself. So you don't get to move your body. And if you don't do that, if you just keep not exercising, what happens? You stay in the cycle of stress, you stay in the cycle of overwhelm, you don't get the feeling, like you don't get the increased confidence that comes from making a commitment and following through on it. When you make a commitment and you follow through on it, it builds your confidence because you're following through. Like you're doing what you say you're going to do, right? And so if another, like a consequence of saying I'm such a hot mess means that you never get a chance to build your confidence. And I think you're great. I think you're great because I think every single person who was put on this earth was put here to do something good. And if you can find that and you can commit to it and you can commit to taking care of yourself so you can keep doing that thing, you deserve all the confidence in the world. All the confidence in the world. So our result is that we don't take care of ourselves. And then all of the things that happen as a result of that. So let's upgrade this, shall we? I don't even know if we can see this, but it's kind of fun to do. So we'll keep doing it. So if you're listening, I know you can't see it, but that's totally fine. So we're flipping the page and we're going to look at our upgraded CTFAR. I'm going to do it sideways and then I'll be able to see stuff a little bit better. So we've got our CTFAR this way. Yeah, I like that. So here's our circumstance has not changed. Things don't go as planned. Lives, we can't really help it, right? Like things just come up. So here's our upgraded thought, the upgraded thought that I'd like to suggest to you. So this is no longer, I am such a hot mess. This is no longer a shame spiral that you go down. This is no longer about you. The thought that you have is, I was expecting a disruption because disruption follows intention. Let's see if we can find a way around this, right? So we know, lives, we know that there might be a disruption. I was expecting this. Let's find a way around it. Okay. So then the feeling that you have, if you think about that, is maybe I'm a little excited to problem solve this. Maybe I'm a little hopeful that I can work around this. Maybe I still have like a little bit of frustration, but I'm still hopeful that I can fix it. I don't just feel stuck, right? So that's what you want to start cultivating with this thought. Is like, I was expecting a disruption. Let's work around it. So we're feeling hopeful and maybe a little creative. So an action that we take is something along the lines of, you ask your boss, like, hey, could I work on this in 2 hours? Or could I work on this tomorrow morning? Or maybe you call your neighbor and say, hey, could you come over and hang out with the kids for just like 2 hours? I've already got dinner prepped. I just need to run out to Pilates. Or maybe you ask your babysitter if they can stay a little bit longer. Or maybe you can't figure it out tonight, but you know that tomorrow morning there's a spot in the 6:30 a.m. class and you can sign up for that. And it'll be all right that you missed tonight because things happen and it has nothing to do with you being a hot mess. You've got a plan. You've got this reworked. You can get back on track. That's what matters, right? So you find a way to go to class or you reschedule is the result of the action. So the action is like we find a way to go to class or we reschedule it. And then the result of that is that you still found a way to take care of yourself. So like you're on track, you're taking care of yourself, you're moving your body, you're building your confidence, you're less stressed, so you're able to be more aware of this thought pattern cycle, right? And when you're more aware of the thought pattern cycle, you can start using your executive function, right? Your brain literally works better when you're not stuck in the stress cycle. So you can start thinking things to yourself like, I notice that when I try to go to a class after work, a lot of times something will come up. What if I go to class in the morning? Or I notice that I always forget my socks after I wash them after laundry day. What if I just leave a pair in my car? What if I order a 20 pack from Amazon and then just leave those in my trunk? And so I always have some socks, even if they're my like favorite high quality cute ones. I got some that have grips on them. I'm not going to get kicked out of class. I'm not going to fall, right? So you start to, once you've figured this out, you've been able to take a step back, you've got this awareness cultivated, you're able to start organizing your thoughts to get the feelings and the actions and the results that you actually want to have, which is pretty cool. And y'all, I want you to know that we use the example of getting to your next yoga or your next Pilates class, right? But this goes so much deeper than just that. So this could apply to everything, like all of the thoughts that you have, all of the results that you want to have in your life. So just like, if you've got a result, right? You've got this goal and you've had this goal for a really long time. Maybe you've been saying to yourself that, things will get better when, or I'll be less stressed if, or like I'll be less stressed when. Your goal is to be less stressed. And you're kind of saying like the circumstance is what's stressing me out. And it's been like that for a really long time. It's a sign that you're stuck in a loop. So if your circumstances aren't changing, if you've had a goal for a long time that you've wanted to hit, but you haven't hit that goal, then it's a sign that you need to upgrade your thought pattern, or like your thought feeling pattern, so that you can upgrade your actions and get the results that you actually want to get. And this could be job related, it could be family related, it could be friend related, anything that you want to change, you can change using this. You have so much power to create the life that you want. And you have so much power. It's not just the life that you want, it's the life that you were meant to live. You have so much power to live the way that you were meant to. And I'm a firm believer that when we're living the way that we were meant to, it's not always easy, but it feels right. That gut feeling that you get like deep down when like you can tell your heart and your gut are like, yeah, this is the thing. I'm willing to dig deep for this. When you figured that out, it feels good, even when it's not easy. Okay, so this goes so much beyond just not being a hot mess. And if you believe that you're a hot mess and you keep that belief that you are a hot mess, you might not start eating in a way that's nourishing for your body. You might not start setting your alarm clock 30 minutes early so that you have a chance to like take a breath before you hit the ground running for your day. You might never figure out that, you know what, I can't make it to class after work, but I could make it before. You might not you might not figure out like if I pack the lunches in the evening, I don't have to scramble in the morning. Or if I lay out clothes the night before, I don't have to scramble in the morning. Or you know what, it's real hard to get out of bed, but if I have a sweatshirt and a space heater ready, it's a lot easier. You might never stand up for yourself because you don't believe that as a hot mess, you're worth it. You might never spend time cultivating mindfulness so that you can start to break this pattern. You might never go for that goal that you have or follow the true calling of your heart, that gut feeling. And you, friend, were put here for more. You were put here, you were put here for so much more than feeling like a stressed out, overwhelmed. So I promise you that. So we are not hot messes. We are not victims of the circumstances in our lives that are happening around us. We are beautiful works in progress, which is so much better than a hot mess, right? Beautiful work in progress. And amazing things are ahead. Amazing things are ahead, even when and especially if things don't go as planned. So that's what I've got for you today. Would love to see you in the studio if there is anything that we can do to help make sure that you stay consistent and you make it to your classes. Please let us know, because when you move your body and you take care of yourself, you take care of everyone around you, you upgrade your thoughts, and you start to create the impact that you were meant to create in the world. And that is literally how this makes the world a better place. All right. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for listening.